Welcome to a special edition of the Legacy Leagues post-game show. We got Vin back, we got Racine coming back for another week, and we had some great Legacy Leagues basketball this past Thursday night. I'm your host, Greg, as usual. Look, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. The playoffs are coming up, and hey, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how the bracket shapes out, who can make a run and who can maybe, get that vaunted Legacy Leagues trophy. But, we'll kind of get right into it with our first game of the night and two teams that, are really battling for playoff position, and that's Lux Gang and Street Ballers. And look, I don't want to say an upset, but I think if you had to ask, everyone, would you put your 401k on one of these teams? I think a lot of people would take Street Ballers in that one. And looks like we're all losing our retirement funds on that one because Lux Gang came out, and I got to give credit to them. They started out with 3 or 4 guys. They started out really, really slow, and Street Ballers did what they always do. They play strong, they play aggressive, they really get in your face, and they just kind of dominate down low. They have Rico hitting threes, and Benji Valentine was on fire this game. He hit about 4 or 5 threes in a row. And, Street Ballers were doing what they usually do. And then Lux Gang flipped the switch. They got their full team there, and I got to give them credit. This is the best game I've seen them play all year. Trayvon Jones continues to be an incredible offensive threat. I know the Legacy Leagues awards are coming out soon, and Trayvon Jones has got to be close to the top for the leaders in Offensive Player of the Year right now because, he is just phenomenal out there, and he's always efficient. He plays hard defense, and he's good from the free throw line. And then you got guys like Samal Grimsley, who I don't – Samal Grimsley, I think he's played 4 games this year for them. There's a lot of guys on this team that, show up late or maybe can't come due to work or whatever it is. And I got to give Lux Gang credit, man. They played a hell of a basketball game, and, they are trending in the right direction, and that's what you want to see. As far as Street Ballers go, they shot 25% from 3 on this game. They just didn't have it. One of their best players, Joito Acosta, wasn't playing. So, look, Street Ballers, you got a big game against Snipe Squad next week. Keep your head up and focus on them. And for Lux Gang, hey, look, Lux Gang. Let's see who Lux ends the season with. Let's run TMC. Look, Lux Gang, this is the game where you can really prove yourself. Even if you don't win this game, let's say you lose by 10 or 8 points. That's sending a big message to the league that you're a team you don't want to play coming into the playoffs. So shout out to Lux pulling off this victory. But we're going to get to the next game and another team that, is, again, all these teams are kind of in the middle right now fighting for playoff position, and that's Snipe Squad. And Snipe Squad took care of business against Enterprise Elite, 72-62. I'm going to kick it over to you, Vin. What did you see in this one? And, Enterprise Elite kind of kept it close in this one.
Yeah, Greg, what you were talking about earlier is everyone right now is fighting for that playoff position. They're fighting to have the best chance to win it all. And I think every game we're seeing these teams go at it a little bit more in terms of like what they leave on the court. They're a little bit more physical. And I think we saw that this week with Enterprise League. They're just trying to finish out the season, most likely, if not already eliminated from the playoffs. They're just trying to leave everything out on the court. While Snipe Squad, on the other hand, they're trying to fight for that playoff spot. And if we look at where they were last year, where they were one of the bottom ranked tiers, in this league to now being 5-2, and the only 2 teams that you lost to were Run TMC and Flint Tropics. They had a very impressive game last week against NLMB. They had a very good game this week, even though it was gritty, it was tough. They were still able to come away being the better team. Right now, I think for Snipe Squad, the answer is just to finish out against Street Ballers. I had Snipe Squad towards the bottom tier when we first started out this season. Right now, they're in that top 4 for me right now. Close out against Street Ballers, and arguably you can say that they're going to make a run.
Yeah, no, shout out Snipe Squad. They really, like Vince said, they were a bottom team the last time they were in this league, and they came back, and they've really just played phenomenal. And if they beat Street Ballers in Week 8, they'll finish the season 6-2. Well, like he said, the only 2 teams they lost to are the top 2 teams. That's a hell of a season. Racine, what'd you see in this one?
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Josh Brody. Man, he was hooping yesterday. He had 34 with 7 3 made. Like, I thought every time he was stepping back from 3, he was gonna go in. So he really kept them in that game, and he battled. So just want to give him his props. And then as for Snipe Squad, usually they rely on their 3 to win, but in this case, it was the win got them. They were being really aggressive in the paint, especially Tim Case. He had 31, and then Nick Caruso, he had 24. It's just like I think towards the third quarter, at that point, they just kept attacking the rim, just throwing up lobs to each other, having fun out there. So I think the key point of the game was really them attacking, and then that's what ultimately got them the W.
Yeah, Tim Case, another guy, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP. He's right up there. He's different. He's built different, and when you have Tim Case on your team, you always have a chance. And Snipe Squad, they're showing that this year. But we're going to move on to the next game, and that is my Flint Tropics taking on the Syndicate. And this was another, Enterprise Elite. They played a phenomenal game against Snipe Squad, keeping it close. Another one for Syndicate. The Syndicate played really well in this one, and throughout this game, the Syndicate kept it close. They were hitting their shots, but Flint was just too much. The usual guys. Mike Pizzuto had a breakout game. Dom Migliaro played phenomenal. Shout out Dom. He really went off. Quan Jackson played awesome too with 27. And then, I want to give a shout out to Mikey Fuller. 29, 16, and 9 is just crazy. That's a phenomenal game out there. That's one of the better games I've seen this season from an individual player in Legacy League. So shout out to Mikey. He had an absolutely amazing game. Tyree Small played great. Same with Eric Moore. Alex Rivera is playing really well. He's trying to get that Most Improved Player of the Year award. And I know it's not a big group who could be most improved. And his numbers are getting there. So shout out to Alex. Shout out to the Syndicate team. I want to give them love because it's not easy playing a team like the Flint Tropics, and to play them close where it was a game most of the game. I got to give them credit. But Flint just kind of doing what they're doing. They're kind of coasting and going into the playoffs. They have one thing in mind, and that's a championship. So I mean, what can you really say there? Vin, I'm gonna kick it over to you, and then Racine. What did you guys see in this one?
Yeah, awesome. Just real quick to shout out the Syndicate. Obviously, you said it was a very competitive game. If we looked at what Flint Tropics was playing like in the beginning, it looked like they were kind of sluggish after their difficult battle against Run TMC. So we definitely saw that in the beginning of the game, and then towards the middle, late part of the third quarter, we just saw them kind of wake up, remember who they are. And in the beginning, it looked like they were just trying to defend a perfect record versus trying to earn a perfect record, which are two very different things, especially in this league. It's hard to be 7-0 trying to go in 8-0 now. And, Flint Tropics, they have a bad taste in their mouth after how last season ended. They want to come back. They don't want to leave any questions out in that court. So for them to come out and to put up 114 points, obviously, it's a very big statement. They got one more before they go into the playoffs. Looks like they're going to secure that first seed bye, but we have to see what happens.
We do. Racine, what did you see in this one?
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from the syndicate, like you mentioned, Mikey Fuller and Tyrus Small. Mikey Fuller 29, Tyrus Small 24. I think any other team they would have played with that performance did get the win. It's just unfortunate that it had to be against TMC. So I really liked the way they played. And then, I mean, sorry, against Flint. And then, hey, as for Flint, Mike Pizzuto 37. And I noticed like the past two games, like Vinny mentioned, they got off to slow starts, but they always managed to bounce back. Like in the third quarter, Mike Rizzuto just started making every three he was putting up, so they just took over from there. But also, like you mentioned, Dom Miguel, like when you have your others stepping up, when it's not just Mike Rizzuto or Quan Jackson or Matt Fink putting up the points, that's a good sign in the future in the playoffs because the competition's going to get even harder. You got other players stepping up, so just another great win for Flint.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And speaking of another great win for this team, the team right on their heels, and that's Run TMC. And this was, probably the best game of the week, Run TMC versus NLMB. Run TMC took them down 65-62. Reggie Stewart hit some incredible shots. Reggie's one of the iciest players in this league. When he gets going, and it's really hard to stop him. But one of the things that separates Reggie and a guy like Mike Davis and guys like that in this league and Eric Langston who hit big shots is they want the ball when the game's on the line, and they want their team needs a big shot. Reggie's just the guy that'll go and get you that. And I mean, what Reggie did against NLMB, it was pretty impressive. Dante Hodge struggled in this one, 25% from the field, only shot 5 of 21 from three. I mean, he had an off night, and Christian Dessou continues to be just an unsung hero for this team. He's absolutely phenomenal. He is such a great player. Alex Willis had a posterizer dunk too. Alex Willis is just such a fun player to watch because he's not someone who's gonna really stand out. You're not going to look at him and see, oh, he dropped 27, but he plays incredible defense, and he's one of those guys that you need on your team when it comes down to the playoffs. And like Racine said, the competition gets harder. That's someone you need. But I just got to give a shout out to Run TMC and the way they closed this game with Pratt hitting big threes and getting the guys going. Eric Langston playing down low. Dave Armstrong is just a warrior down there, and he got a little mad in this game, but that's what Dave does. And they're just, I mean, Run TMC is looking great, coming into the playoffs. So just got to hand it to Run TMC and Reggie. They really, really are looking strong going into the last week of the season. But we're going to go to the last game of the week, and that's Lord's Army and Get Money. And another great game. I mean, Get Money was without two of their better players in Tyshee McCray and Nas Pryor. But Lord's Army took them down 78-73. And Jason Hernandez was incredible in this one. Jamal Winter, same thing. Jake Morales. This whole Lord's Army team, man, they showed up, and I got to give credit to them. Vin, I'll start with you. What'd you see in this one, man? How did Lord's Army do it? Big upset.
I mean, as you said, Get Money was missing two of their biggest players, but I do have a message for both teams. For Get Money, do not panic. Do not let a loss like this, so close to the playoffs, freak you out for how things are going to go down. Records do not matter. What happens in the regular season does not matter when we get to the playoffs. They're going to be fine. Nat's going to come back. They're going to have everyone back for the playoffs. I do not worry about Get Money going down the stretch. When it comes to Lord's Army, forget the excuse of not having two of their best players. Take that win. Enjoy that momentum going into that last week. It's two very different messages, but for two very different teams. I think Lord's Army can surprise a lot of people. I think we're going to see, if they do win the first round of the playoffs, how they play in that game is going to determine what they can do down the stretch. I really want to see that Lord's Army show up in the final week, and then I want to see them show up like that in the playoffs. They looked hungry. They looked like on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball, connecting, clicking on the passes, connecting inside the paint. Rebounds were great. They were just focused. It felt like nothing could stop them throughout that entire game, especially how last week went with Street Ballers. Street Ballers likes to talk a lot. So for them just to lock in and focus against a better team like Get Money, I think that was phenomenal for them. So for Lord's Army, keep the momentum going. Keep going into that last week. But for Get Money, just regroup. Don't worry about it. You know you're one of the better teams in this league. Go prove it next week and go prove it in the playoffs.
Yeah, Racine, what do you got? Hit me.
Yeah, I'm really happy Lord's Army got this win because they've been battling these past couple weeks, but unfortunately haven't been able to close out their games. So, and I really think that their team is better than their record shows, so I'm really happy they got this win. And to me, the biggest takeaway of this one was just the rebounding, being able to create second chance opportunities and just securing rebounds so Get Money couldn't get their second chance opportunities. And to me, that was the turning point of the game for them. And then, yeah, just to piggyback on what Vinny said, I completely agree. I actually didn't even realize that Get Money was missing some of their players, and I've been pretty high on them this season, so I'm not too worried. Sometimes you just need, when situations like that, you need your other players to step up when you got players missing, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. But, I'm assuming that these players are going to be back for the playoffs, and then they'll be at full strength again. So I'm still high on Get Money, but overall, just really happy for Lord's Army getting the win.
Yeah, no, shout out Lord's Army, man. I want to give Lord's Army some love. Same thing. Lord's Army, you guys are playing great basketball. Every week, you guys are competitive. You come out here having fun and just keep doing your thing, keep pushing. The way the playoffs are set up, I'm not sure what seed you're going to be, but I mean, hey, just do your thing. And I think that Lord's Army is one of those teams that you don't want to play in the playoffs because they're going to give you a run for your money and they're really going to push you to the edge. And you never know what can happen when you got guys like Jason Hernandez out there. So shout out to Lord's Army, Get Money, keep your head up. But we're gonna go do something special here on the post game show. Gonna do a quick little tier list
Oh, yeah.
with what we got. So it's gonna be us three.
There we go.
Obviously, it'll be the Greg Racine Vinny tier list. Um, so we'll start. We'll kind of get a baseline going. So we've talked about a lot of these teams a lot. I think we could start with Flint Tropics. I think we can all agree S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the number one seed, undefeated, beat some of the best teams in the league. Can't argue that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've every game they've besides I guess TMC they've won every game pretty comfortably, so no doubt there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I agree. And then Enterprise Elite,
I think it's
I
it's
mean,
it's difficult to say, but you have to think about just the scores. You have to think about how they played this year. Unfortunately, Enterprise Elite, you got to go to the D tier for this one.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate
yeah,
because I think their games early on in the season they've been like pretty bad sometimes. But I mean, I was late. They've been playing well, but I'm sorry, just the early season struggles. You gotta be in the D tier.
It's
no,
unfortunate.
yeah, and I actually think they looked better this past week. Like
Yeah.
Racine said, they
Yeah.
they looked a little better. I
Yeah.
mean, they could maybe do something. All right, NLMB,
I'm going.
NLMB. Where do you think, Vin? You
So
first, then Racine.
I'm gonna go B, and here's why I'm gonna say B and not like A and not C because they have competed against some of the best teams in the league. They competed against Snipe Squad and Run TMC, but unfortunately wasn't able to close it out. I would like that might be the one concern I have about NLMB is are they able to close out these close games? Are they going to be able to hold on to the big leagues? However, we have seen some very very impressive play by NLMB. I'm going to throw them in the B tier.
Okay, Racine, where would you put them?
I actually disagree here. I would put them in the A tier. Um,
Mm,
I would say this because I really like the way Dante Hodge plays and Christian Sue, those two together. I think they could be really dangerous, and they are. Uh, like you said, just last game, Darnell Hodge struggled, but I don't think that's gonna happen again. So I think NLB, I think they're really good. I put them in A tier.
I
all
respect.
right, all right. For now, why don't we say high B,
I
and
B.
we can change it. We can change it for now.
That's fine.
Lux Gang. This is a hard one too. Lux Gang.
Who
I
we?
mean, Vin, you can go first, then Racine. I mean, they're
Oh man, I mean it's hard because I've had a couple of games with Lux Gang and I've seen them have phenomenal days and I've seen them just have a great game, but it's difficult because I do want to put them in that B tier, but we have seen some unfortunate losses. So I'm gonna put them at a high C, low B rating. So for the sake of this, C tier.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotta go with any of you guys here. I
yeah,
see it in C tier. I haven't seen it too much, but from what I've seen, I think C tier is pretty fun.
yeah. No, I gotta agree there. I think they have potential to move up for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But like
especially
some of
after
these
that.
teams, yeah, some of these teams might be capped. But I think they're speaking of a team. But I think they got potential. And speaking of a team that's got potential, get money. This is a hard one. They might be our first A team. I'll let Ben go there. Racine.
I'm agreeing. I'm going to go with the A tier because we've seen this team compete against the best of the best. They've won some great games. Uh, Last week, like we said, they didn't have their two best players, and they still played very well. That makes people worried about how they're going to play when they have those two guys. So I'm going
Yeah.
to put them in an A tier. I think Naz Pryor, one of the best players in the league. I think you got to just throw him in that A tier. Mad respect for Get Money.
Yeah, I put them in A tier as well. I've been high on Get Many
Yeah.
all year, and even you got Kyle Davis playing like the way he is, and then
Yeah.
other teammates playing like the way they are, they're dangerous, so A tier.
Yeah, no, all right. I mean, I agree. Again, this is where it's going to get interesting. Lord's Army. Where does Lord's Army fit in this? Because they're coming off a big win against Get Money. Players there, not there.
I'm a fan of
Um,
the tier.
uh,
That's my opinion. Because here's the thing: the fact that they're getting hot now, and the fact that we're towards the end of the season, this team is looking more dominant than ever. I
mhm,
gotta throw them in that B tier because, like you said, Greg, this is a team you don't want to play in the playoffs.
yeah,
This team will exhaust you. They can be physical. They can hit their threes. I wouldn't want to play Lord's Army if I'm one of these better teams. I'm going to throw them in that B tier because I think I do have some questions about the consistency. But right now they're on that hot streak, and you don't want to play a team while they're getting hot.
Yeah, if we're going off of right now, I think they could be in the B tier base. I think they could qualify for B tier, but for a whole season as a whole, I'd put them as a C. But for the way they're playing right now, I think sounds good.
All right.
mm, I mean, yeah, it is hard because their whole season has been, very up and down, I guess you could say, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. I mean, what are they? They're 3-4.
Yeah,
So if we're
I
going by
mean,
the whole season, I think
because Lux Gang is 4-3.
right. But it's been the. Are we talking about solely on what they're doing lately and what we think they're going to be in the playoffs, or
I guess overall.
okay,
overall,
overall? Then I have to go with a C. But if we're going to talk about what they're doing right now, what I think they're going to do in the future, they're a B
Yeah.
team.
I agree. Yeah.
So,
All right, we can put a B for now, and we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
all right,
Run TMC. This is. I feel like, are we saying A, or I feel like they might be Flint S. What do you think?
I'm going S because they, regardless
Yeah.
of the loss, they had a very competitive game against Flint Tropics. They had a gritty win this week. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no reason they should have won that game, but it's the fact that they just locked in. They've got Langston Pratt, Reggie Stewart, who we said earlier, he is one of those guys that I trust with the ball. When he hit that game-winning three right before, I told everyone Reggie, who I would want right now. If you have those guys getting hot in the playoffs,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Run TMC runs it back. I don't think that'd be a real shock to anyone. It's not a hot take, but
Yeah.
I would watch out for Run TMC right now.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Flint and TMC, they're the same level. I know Flint, obviously, they got the win, but uh, again, I think my biggest thing, Eric Langston coming back, and I think he's played like his third game, so he's just getting started. So yeah, TMC in the S tier.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think it's a question. I think TMC is easily S tier. I think there's a big gap in the S and A,
100.
and everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone's favorite squad, Street Ballers, coming off a rough loss, but they I mean, look, they didn't have one of the better players playing who could be rookie of the year. Benji Valentine, he was trying to do it all out there with Rico and co. But where do we got Street Ballers? I'll let you go, Ben. Where do they fit?
See, it's hard because we've seen them be very competitive against these teams, but I feel like it's also disrespectful to put them above the team that they just lost to. But I don't think they deserve to be in that D tier spot. I'm gonna throw them with Lux Gang in the C tier, but the same thing that they can be a team that gets hot, especially if Valentine hits more threes like he did last night. I think this team can give you a run for your money if you're these A or B teams going into the playoffs. I'm gonna throw them in the C tier.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with Lord's Army because as of late they've been playing really well, but for the course of the whole season, it's just been inconsistency. So unfortunately, I think they gotta go C tier.
Yeah, I'll say C for now. We'll talk about the order in a sec. But another team that's going to be kind of right in the middle there. Maybe sneaking A, Snipe Squad. I know Vin is a big Snipe Squad supporter. I do love Snipe as well. Vin, where do you see him?
So, as you said, I am a big Snipe Squad fan. I've followed this team a lot this year. I think it's very impressive with what they've done this season. They're a young team. They've got a coach. Not many people. He shows up in his suit and everything every week. This is a team that I think it's not sneaky good in the playoffs, but unexpectedly, I don't know what the proper word would be right here, but this is a team that I can see really just going the distance. I'm putting Snipe Squad A, but I can definitely see how some people argue for a B tier. Tim Case, by the way, is a clear MVP candidate. He's been dominant this entire year. I think it's got to be said.
Yes, Sniper's been playing really well. I think they're probably now one of the underrated good teams in this league, if you know what I mean. So,
For
and they
sure.
beat NOLMV in a very close game. Yeah, I think you gotta give them the A tier.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate going like that. I really don't. All right. I mean, it's hard to say because again, you could argue the top B, but I'm gonna go. I like the A. All right. We're gonna go to our last team, Syndicate, who just played a great game, trending in the right direction. Where do you think they kind of fill in on this one?
It's so unfortunate because I do like Syndicate a lot. They've got some great guys on that squad. Unfortunately, it doesn't show on the record. We did the math before yesterday's games. They lost an average of 12 points a game, which, when it all comes down to it, is not that terrible when we have seen teams get blown out by like 50 points. So, unfortunately, due to record, you could see them in the D tier, but they're very competitive to where I can put them in the C tier. It's just unfortunate that the
Yep.
record doesn't represent the play.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Vinny here. I think D tier with their record they have. I know they play better than their record shows, but I just can't disregard that. So D tier.
I'm gonna say something. I'm just gonna say something. I think we should put them low C
Yeah.
because if they played Enterprise, I think they might beat Enterprise by like 20 plus.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've all
if
said it that.
Just for that, because I feel like they're a clear like
Yeah,
I kind of like this because it's different than the standings too.
no, I
But
agree, and I think we've always said Syndicate is the better team that doesn't have a win on the season. That would be
agreed.
yeah,
Yeah,
an interesting
yeah.
game to go to.
all right. I mean, how we feeling about this order? I like Flint being the top of S.
100%.
I mean, Get Money, Snipe. I think Get Money ahead of Snipe. I mean,
I think Snipe Squad is very hot right now. Again, I'm a big Snipe Squad fan, so I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, he loves Snipe Squad."
yeah,
I think they're playing really well right now. Tim Case, like I said, he's playing very well right now. This is a team that I think could be considered top three, top four. I think it just
yeah.
depends on can they control themselves in the playoffs because we do see this team sometimes get a little out of hand and then they start losing the big leads or they start digging themselves into a hole. So right now, I think that's their only question. It's not a question of if they can do it. It's just what's going to happen.
I would keep Get Money ahead. I mean, they've been
Yeah. Okay.
besides yesterday, they've been pretty consistently very good all season. So I think being ahead of Snipe is pretty fair.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with that, and then I mean, I'm saying Street Ballers ahead of behind Lux Gang. We find I know Lux Gang beat them, but do we think Street full strength beats Lux Gang? I mean, I don't, this. I think this looks good.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree with the
the
list.
only only thing I think I would question a little bit,
Tell
Lord's
me.
Army a little bit being like low C, because I personally don't think they're on the level of NLMB.
I think
You
we're looking
think you
at like
think we should go
yeah, right
like
there.
this?
Yeah, I think that would be more accurate because if I think I don't remember the score or if they've played NLB and Lord's Army, but I think NLB would be win pretty comfortably if they've played.
What if it was like this?
Ooh.
It's tough.
I think Snipe
I
should
think
be A.
Snipes an A. I have to defend Snipe
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
It's
I
this
like
Yeah.
this.
I think yeah, I like this.
I
this is
think this I think this fits. I think this fits for what we're working with. We got Flint and Run TMC in A. Flint obviously the first. I mean in S, the first team in S. Then we got Get Money and Snipe Squad in A. With Get Money obviously, and then the only B team we got is NLMB. But
yep.
I do think that's I agree. They're like clearly in that middle ground where they're way better than the other teams behind them. And then we got Lord's Army because I think we like this their ceiling. Lux Gang, Street Ballers. I feel like those three are ahead of Syndicate, but we just think Syndicate's a little ahead of Enterprise, and then we got Enterprise Elite and D, and I think we're looking good, boys.
Yeah.
Got any you guys got anything else about any of these teams? Any messages?
I mean, it's tough. You could say something about everybody. I'd say for Syndicate, be proud of what you've done on the court. It's difficult, especially with the record, but keep your head high. You've had some challenges to overcome on and off the court this year, and just keep your head high for next year. That's the biggest thing you can take away from that. Flint Tropics, just get it done. You all year you dominated these teams outside of one game. Just get it done. That's what their mindset is. Is just finish the mission. So that's about it. What I can say.
Uh, just all teams just keep battling, man. I mean, I'm really enjoying watching these games. Last week we had very good games. This week had pretty good games too. Just keep adding. Even the teams that have like low records, Enterprise and Syndicate, like the way you guys are playing right now, it's very competitive basketball. You guys deserve to win. Just keep playing. I mean, we're watching great basketball right now. So,
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. For me, Greg, Racine, Vin, we hope you all have a great weekend or whenever Joey posts this, but we'll see you all back this Thursday for some great Legacy Leagues action. Last week of the regular season.
Oh yeah.
Make sure to check those lines. We'll see Connor setting the lines. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a Legacy League sports book going. Connor can get someone going. I don't know. But for me, Greg, for seeing Ben, it's been a pleasure, everyone, and thank you so much.